Are you having trouble coming up with a hypothesis or a thesis for the day? Well, look no further, you have found the exact right YouTube video. Welcome y'all, my name is Forrest, I invest stuff. I'm a day trader, primarily trading futures. I swing trade options and things like that as well. Now, even as a day trader, even though you're trading the intraday chart, you need to be doing a higher time frame analysis, either on the daily, weekly, or even the monthly chart. We're actually gonna do, I haven't done my kind of recap analysis for the week, so I'm gonna go through and actually analyze the charts how I normally would. I'm just gonna do it out loud in front of you all so you can understand my exact thought process, how I usually do this. Now, it's gonna be a little bit different because I'm gonna be talking about it, going slow, a little bit slower than usual, and I'm actually not gonna jump down to any of the shorter time frames, but this will give you a good idea of exactly how I think. It's not actually gonna be overly complicated. You might be surprised, or if you're brand new, it might actually still seem a little complicated because I'm gonna make a little assumptions that you know a little bit about trading here. In any case, if you have questions at the end, please drop them down in the comments. We have a free chat in the Discord. One of my passions is helping people. We're very responsive there, so do not be afraid to come in, even if you don't join the paid part of the server. We'll answer your questions there. We would love to have you as a full member though. Reach out to me if you want a discount code on your first month off. I can shoot that over to you, but we do have a 1 week free trial either way. In any case, let's go ahead and do some higher time frame analysis and get you set up for this next week. Let's go. Hold on, folks. A little better. Whatever, we're gonna get into it. All right, start recording. Okay, so I literally just opened this up. Nothing's been changed for YouTube, guys. We're gonna jump into my daily chart. So if you're not familiar with what this tool is, this is TradingView. TradingView is just a charting tool. It's probably one of the best charting tools out there. I don't have an affiliate or anything with them. You just go to tradingview.com, open an account, start adding things, save templates, right? So this is my all time frames for ES chart. So I have this chart, and then I also have this chart here, which is, let's call it 15-minute bangers. There's no good reason for that. But this is where I do most of my executions. It's right here. I have ES, what's on SPX. ES on the left, NQ in the middle, and then whatever. This is my flexible chart where I just switch this out to whatever tickers I want to look at. So again, we're gonna start on the daily though, on ES, and we're gonna open this up. So I'll talk about what we're looking at, and then really just gonna go through and talk about, what I think. Really, my plan for this video was just for me to actually do my analysis how I normally would. You guys can see it, talk through all the indicators. I'm gonna clean my chart up a little bit and get right into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about what's on the screen right now. I have some levels. I have this top level here, which we just cracked on Friday's session. It's currently Saturday, December 2nd. So Friday's session, we did crack this. We ran through 4,600 on ES. You see that I had a line here. I also have this alert here for 45.91. So I'm gonna get rid of this alert. We don't need it. In general, try to keep my charts as clean as possible. This is pretty messy, which is why I do this once a week. Come in here and I just start to remove things that aren't necessary. So I have all these different LVN, low value nodes that I had marked up. But in general, on the daily, I want to get into our last pivot to do this analysis. So for those of you that are new here, I'm a very big price action trader, as well as the volume profile. Those really all go into price action. But what do I mean by price action? So by price action trader, I mean that I am looking at the candles and based off of the story of the candles, right? So if we get a higher high, a higher low, or vice versa, if they start to round over, there's a strong V pivot. I'm looking for all of these things in the price action to come up with a thesis for a trade. That's my number one priority as a trader, is looking at price action and doing that analysis. The second level of that is volume. So looking at volume, not just across time, but also volume at price. The volume profile, which we see on the right side of the screen, right? So this histogram here is the volume profile. Volume profile gives us volume at a price. So on the daily time frame, question that I'm really asking myself as I'm sitting here, I want to eliminate all bias from the prior week. I don't want to think about any of the trades that I have on right now. I just come down, I sit down at my desk and I think, okay, what does the auction look like it wants to do right now? So let's actually just zoom back in real quick and let's look at the volume down here on these last 2 days. In the last 2 days, relative to the previous days, where we had a dip in volume and an increase in volume. So what did we have an increase in volume in terms of market participation? Well, we had 2 green days. We had a spike in volume on 2 green days. Now Friday, there was a little bit of a drop off from Thursday. Thursday was a pretty crazy session, but you can see that we had an increase in volume on this pop, on this pop up to 4,600. Now I previously had a thesis to run through 4,600 and sweep that. We hit that. We had some consolidation and kind of flip-flopping on thesis throughout here in this session. So ultimately, my first thesis was the correct one. We ran through, hit this 4,600. Now we didn't fully sweep this, and I do anticipate, just looking at this now, that this is going to go a little bit higher next week. This looks like we want to go higher. We had a bottom wick here. We ran through, fully engulfed this candle. So what do I mean by engulfing it? That means the candle's this big, the next candle ate it up. It fully engulfed it. So we had a fully engulfing candle on this wick. We ate it up, we retested it, ran through it, came through with high volume. So that's how I'm reading that. So first thing I'm thinking is we want to get to the next structure. So the next structure is up here at 4680. So I'm going to put one here. I'm going to ignore the wick for now. I'm just going to put one here at 4680, and I can do that with Alt J. So this is the July, let's call it the July high. I can label it if I want, do here, July pivot high. Cool. Now my thesis, so I'm not just marking this on the chart. My actual thesis again is that we're going to go and seek out this liquidity. So we're going to run up to, because we had strong buyers here, finally coming out of this consolidation phase. Because the market expands after it contracts, so we were in a period of consolidation, the market should expand out of that and go to the next liquidity target, right? I'll say that one more time. After the market consolidates, it will expand and go out to the next liquidity target. So that's what we're seeing here. That's my expectation here. So my thesis for all of my day trades next week at this point, after just doing 5 minutes of analysis, looking at 2 bars and kind of taking a glance at the chart, is that we're going to make a run higher. So I'm biased long, which is super duper important, because if I go into the next week and for some reason I'm taking a bunch of shorts, that would be really weird. It's very counterintuitive to what I think the market wants to do overall. And that's where a lot of traders really get messed up, is you are not taking into account the major trend. The day is going to end green overall. If you think the day is going to end green overall, then why are we taking shorts? It doesn't make any sense. So I basically think that the chart is going to go like this. Boom. Very simple. So that's what I think on the daily. Let's zoom out though. I want to take a look at the volume profile now, going back to this pivot right here. So this pivot right here is the COVID low. We'll mark it Alt J, and I'll write it up on the chart just for you. This is the COVID low. Cool. So the volume profile on the right, this is the visible range volume profile. It's exactly the same as the fixed range volume profile. It's just that the range that it's calculated for is based off of whatever's on my screen. So the way that I can do this is I can literally just scroll to the right and just put all these bars on my screen. Super duper simple. So now I have a volume profile going to COVID low. I'm not worried about this pivot here right now, so I'm gonna get rid of it. And I'm not really worried about the value area high and lows. So I'm gonna clean up my indicator for this and get rid of these two for now. You can still see the VAH and VAL based off of the shading of the bars here. So this is the July pivot high. Put that here. I think we're gonna run for this. What you'll notice about this pivot, right, if you're watching this video with your brain on, is that there is a drop off in our volume profile, this pivot. So I did an entire video talking about the volume profile and how to read these pivots, ways to think about them. It's not an exact science, nothing with trading is. It's all very subjective, which is why it's hard. But we have to apply that subjectivity in a smart way. We have to apply the subjectivity like we're playing poker. So we know that there's a huge amount of market participation in this area in general. We're right in the value area, guys, right? All of this range right here, is all in this value area. This is the value area. We are coming up to the top of the value area, thus the name value area high. And the value area high for this range from the COVID low pivot is right at this July pivot that I just hit. So I'm immediately thinking that there's a higher chance that instead of cracking this liquidity and running through it, that we simply retest it and bounce off of it like this. We essentially do a double top. We did like a double top scenario here. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but that's my intuition. That's what I'm thinking. If this was a 5-minute chart and we were trading this and coming up to the VAH, I would expect it to test the VAH. That's my hypothesis. Soul, who's in our Discord, he's a trader in our Discord. He streams full-time live in our Discord. He's always talking about imagine the charts as if they were shorter time frames, right? What would you do if this was a 5-minute chart? Would you expect it to crack through the VAL or VAH? No, of course not. You would expect it to retest that. The other thing is that we have strong amounts of confluence now. So we have this previous pivot. We had volume coming coming through on the daily, showing that we should go higher. And then we also have this area where we can reject here. So now I have a pretty clear hypothesis of what I want to do for this week. I want to look for a retest of 46.80.50, and because we're coming out of a period of consolidation, I expect us to come into this with energy and then possibly reject. Now, what if I'm wrong? I always talk about having multiple theses. Well, either way, we're still in a period of consolidation and I expect this to expand. Price action is breaking down. We saw an injection of volume to the buy side and we just swept, really just touched that 4,600 area. If I'm wrong on the upside, we're probably going to have a pretty strong move, same amount of energy to the downside to this next low volume node, which is down here at 44.27. So we have this node right here at 44.27 the market. You can see it, this low volume node here with a huge amount of confluence to here. Just eyeballing this as well, speaking of confluence, this looks like 50% of this range, or what we call the 50 fib. You can do a Fibonacci retracement there. Look at where this node is. It's right here. Well, it's really at the 0.618 or 0.382, depending on which way you draw your fib. It doesn't really matter. But we see that there's a huge amount of confluence here in terms of fib retracement and more. So those are my two theses. On the upside, I'm looking for a test and double top of this area 46.73 here. And on the bottom side, I'd look for a retracement to 44.30. On the intraday, I'm going to be looking at volume to see whether we run through or not. It doesn't really matter if we hit this price target and run through it. It doesn't matter. Be egoless when you trade, guys. I'm a day trader, so I'm just trying to catch these moves in the day. If I had a stronger thesis thinking we would run through us, then I might take a swing position a little bit further dated for us to come through. I'm not going to do that just yet. Really, I just want some bias, an upside bias. If we move down, I know what my target is because we just ran this. I'm expecting the market to open up. And if we open up to the top, which I'm biased towards 46.73, open up to the bottom, then I'm looking for a bigger move down at 44.27 area. And that's really it. It's super, super simple. Let's take a look at the weekly really quick. We'll do that by doing 1W. On the weekly, we have very similar structure. Let's go back to the COVID low here on the weekly. Just a little bit. On the weekly, value area is still about the same. Low volume on the weeks though, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but there is lower volume on these weeks. Let's actually just zoom in just a little bit, make this easier to see. We'll get the COVID low back there. Look at the volume bars down here. So on the weekly, we do have lower volume. We had an increase in volume in the last week relative to the previous week. Huge spike in volume last week on this green though, which fits with my hypothesis. It was a strong move. Look here, like the last time we had a relatively big green, what happened? The market went higher. We had an injection of red volume, market came lower. It's very, 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 very simple. That's all technical analysis is, guys. I want to see who is running the market right now. And the expectation, the general rule of thumb that I use, and I say this live all the time, is I want to know what the market did, and my expectation is that it's going to keep doing that. That is it. Until it breaks structure. That's exactly how I trade. It's super simple. If the market's been ranging for 3 days, I'm not looking for a breakout. I'm not, right? I'm always doing analysis, so if there was a breakout, I'll have a price target, and I kind of just gave you kind of two different theses here. But if the market's been ranging, I expect it to range. If the market is running up, I expect it to run up. If the market's running down, I expect it to run down. It's going to have fake outs, and it's going to try and trap buyers and sellers along the way as it does that, so keep that in mind. So that's my macro analysis. I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. Do this. You can only do this through practice. You should be doing this every single day, guys. You should be doing this type of macro analysis on your charts so that you can come up with thesis on your own. Unless you do this and apply your thesis and test them yourself, you're always going to have to rely on other people. You're always going to be looking to me for a thesis. You're always going to be looking to Soul or other people on Discord for a thesis. And it's better if you have your own and compare it to ours. It's fine. By all means, ask me what my thesis is. We all share our ideas. But if you can't come with an original thought, it's going to be really, really hard for you to grow up as a trader. And I've been in where you've been before. I've been where sometimes I look at the charts and I feel completely lost. It's really, really hard. You know, the application of trading is hard, but trading itself is super simple. You just got to do it in practice. That's all it is. So I hope you like that. Please subscribe. The channel is growing super duper fast. I actually can't believe it. We're at 3.5K as of me recording this, which is nuts. I actually can't believe it. Don't want to take it for granted at all. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'm going to say it in every single video because it's true. Like, I actually appreciate that you guys watch stuff that I make. It's crazy that random people all over the world just sit down and watch the things that I make here in my office, in my studio. I love it. I appreciate y'all. I'm here to help. Leave me a comment. Join us in Discord. I'll help you best I can. Shout out to my haters too. You guys fuel me. I love y'all. Blessings to you. Peace.